Morning all. After our fun and games at Stamford Bridge yesterday at the Wyscout Forum, we are back in the studio. I think the studio kind of missed us. Did you miss us? Well, we're live every single weekday morning at 8 GMT on Facebook Live and on YouTube. Thanks for joining us this morning. Packed show today. We've got some more interviews from the Wyscout Forum we were at yesterday. We're also looking at the mysterious story of Ali Dyer. Remember him? He made that short substitute appearance for Southampton back in the mid-90s. We're going to be talking about that. We're also going to look at Liverpool. We're going to talk about England cricket. So much to fill in this 30 minutes on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to join in the conversation in the comments pages below and on Twitter using the hashtag Sportuccino. All right, let's begin the day with our morning sports headlines. Top clubs in Brazil have offered to loan players to Chapecoense for free after their team, officials and journalists died in a plane crash in Colombia on Monday. Ben Woodburn replaced Michael Owen as Liverpool's youngest ever goalscorer at 17 years and 45 days old by scoring in their 2-0 win over Leeds in the EFL Cup. In Tuesday's other quarter-final, Hull beat Newcastle on penalties after it finished 1-1 after extra time. Jessica ENNIS-HILL says she is so happy after she's awarded a gold medal from the 2011 World Championships after Russian Tatiana Chernova was stripped of the title for doping. So those were the morning headlines. Get involved on Facebook and on Twitter. Everything related to that on what you think about what's going on in the world of sport. Well, if you want to get involved in the conversation, we're also on Twitter and we like to have a brand new poll every single day on the Twitter page. So let's have a look at today's poll. And today we're asking cricket fans. England 2-0 down in the series now after 3 tests. A bit of a crushing defeat yesterday in Mohali. But can England win one of the last 2 tests? Could it be maybe a 4-0 defeat by India? Let us know on the Twitter page. Will England win one of the last 2 tests against India? It's not looking very good for Alistair Cook's side. Who would you like to see be called up into the team? Do changes need to be made? Love to get your thoughts on the Facebook and the YouTube pages and also on Twitter. Let's have a look at the result of yesterday's poll. We were asking, should clubs give bigger allocation to away fans? That's after Newcastle were pretty peed off that they weren't given a bigger allocation against Hull in the EFL Cup. I think they wanted at least 1,000 more seats when 1,000 were available by Hull. Similar situation I remember last season. Lots of fans wanted to go from Brighton to see them play Charlton when they were on the promotion push. Charlton rejected it even though there were thousands of empty seats. What do you think, football fans? Well, 100% of you in our poll say they should be given bigger allocations. You know, we all want to just see a game of football, don't we? So those are today's polls. And as I mentioned, we were at Stamford Bridge yesterday and we were at this Wyscout Forum. I've got to be honest, it was pretty much a lot of men in suits. It was the people behind the game of football. It was the agents, it was the sporting directors. There was probably quite a few people you've heard in headline speak, in newspaper articles, but you don't actually know what they look like. A lot of them wheeling and dealing. And it's quite interesting, the Wyscout Forum is almost like a speed dating event. While all of these clubs and agents and representatives there, they're all given a number and they spend a few minutes at each table seeing if there's any conversations they can have, if there's any deals that could be going on. So it was quite good. So I spent a few moments talking to the CEO, Matteo Campodonico, and he explained to me a bit about the Wyscout platform. And it's, imagine Football Manager, Championship Manager, the game a lot of us have grown up to love and play. And it's basically a real-life version of that, where it's measuring all the different statistics of all the different players. So why don't you have a little look at my chat with Matteo Campodonico, the CEO of Wyscout.
At Wyscout, I started the company as a hobby in 2004, but for 4 years it was just a hobby. And with a friend of mine, we went recording games, amateur games, and analyzing them. In 2008 we started with the concept to create a big football platform, professional football platform. We did that. Today our platform is used by more than 1,000 clubs in the world, 50 federations, players, agents, independent coaches, scouts, referees also. Wyscout is to have all played football in one place. Videos, information about players, about teams, in one place that you can navigate, you can surf. This lot of information. It's a really nice, cool platform.
Yeah, so you said it started as a hobby. Now, I looked at the platform. For me, I immediately went, this is like a real-life championship manager, football manager. Did you used to play all those games when you were younger?
Yeah, our database manager is probably the best in Italy for football manager. So we just started from the passion. So most of the people that works for us really love football.
Is it still a passion now, or does it just feel like a job?
I'm really lucky because we can combine things. So of course it's a job, it's a hard job. Today Wyscout is a 350 employees company. We have offices all around the world. So it's a hard job. To manage a company is not as a hobby. But on the other side is something great because we are working to change a bit of course, but we are changing something in football.
So that was the interview with the CEO of Wyscout, Matteo Campodonico. And as I mentioned at this event, there were lots of agents and various club representatives. And when you think of agents, there's a story back from the mid-90s where Southampton played this player called Ali Dyer, and it was claimed that he or his agent had rang up the manager at the time, the manager Graham Souness, and said, hi, I'm George Weah, and I've got my cousin, he's really good at football, why doesn't he come and play for Southampton? And apparently he came to the training ground on the Friday and then was put as a substitute on the Saturday, came off the bench, and before even the match finished, Graham Souness hauled him off because he was so bad, and then he was never seen again. Well, that is the legend, that is the story, but in the 20 years since that happened, nobody has actually found this mysterious Ali Dyer until now. Kelly Naqi is a journalist who has written an article for the Bleacher Report and managed to track down Ali, and Kelly now joins us live on Sportuccino. Kelly, great to have you on the show. So how on earth did you actually finally track this mysterious man down?
Well, I did something actually that many journalists can do if you think about it. Of course, I did the usual, because I had heard he was in France, so I reached out to, the Senegalese community in France. I reached out to football agents in France. I actually thought this guy probably has a son. That's my dog's tail right there. Did you see my tail? And then I said, you know what? I'm just going to read every article on the internet. But because he's from Dakar, instead of just reading this stuff about him in London and in the US, I went into Senegalese sports websites and articles written on him that were pretty much repurposed, that were written in Britain, but translated to Wolof, which is one of the common languages in Dakar. And I started reading in the comments section and translating. Thank God Google Translate, right? Translating every comment. And there were a couple of commenters that were really specific and said, yeah, he went to school with Momar Jang and Augustin Senghor. I remember his dad used to work for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and my sister used to sometimes ride to school with them. And they were really specific comments. The problem was that these comments were written by anonymous people, and I couldn't track down who they were. But it gave me the sense that, okay, well, first of all, I can track down Momar Jang and Augustin Senghor and see if it's true that he went to school with them. But at least now I felt like I had a starting point, right? because no one else could find him. If he was in France, if he was in England, I couldn't find him. So I said maybe he's got relatives and other friends in Dakar that he keeps in touch with. So Bleacher Report said, find him, give us a budget, tell us what you think it will be. So I gave him a budget and went to Africa. And it turns out, yes, he did go to school. Whoever those anonymous posters, they really helped me out because he did go to school with those guys. And then one of them gave me an idea of somebody who might still keep in touch with Ali. He did not, but he knew where the parents' house was, basically. So then we had to just go to that neighborhood and just ask around. And, you know, literally it's knocking on a lot of doors. There are a lot of people in the streets who are very friendly and chatted. And my fixer slash bodyguard slash translator, his name is Sharif. We talked to a lot of people and then ended up finding his parents' house, and they were very wonderful and accommodating and let us in. And then the parents told me where he was and gave me his phone number. And so it ended up, you know, I couldn't believe how ultimately, quote unquote, easy it was. I don't think a lot of people had the notion or the budget to say, go to Africa and see if you can, you know, track down his family. I think, you know, that's a big ask. And Bleacher Report wanted this story enough that they said go.
But it wasn't quite so easy for you when you got to Africa to finally track him down. There seemed to be a little bit, the family seemed to be a bit uncomfortable of getting you to him directly, right?
On the first night, they were not uncomfortable at all. And that is my dog now sitting behind me. So there you go. Your viewers get a twofer here. The first night they were great. And they actually thought that he would want to speak with me. That's why they gave me the number, because they said, you just want to get to the truth. I didn't have preconceived notions, and maybe this is a little bit as well because I'm American, and I didn't even really know of Ali Jah as it's pronounced, not Daya as I know everyone, or Dia as everyone has pronounced all these years. I didn't know whether or not he did any of this. In fact, it all kind of sounded a little suspicious to me because I couldn't imagine that somebody could get a manager's phone number and get him on the phone and convince him so easily. I mean, 1996, yes, it was 20 years ago, but Graham Souness is not stupid. And it's really hard to get numbers like that. You know, if they're not available to the general public, you know, being in the media, could you get someone's number now, a manager of a team, so quickly, if you were just a regular person like Ali Jah was at the time? So I found the parents to be like, okay, you're going to be fair. You have an open mind. We'll give you his number and we'll tell him about our meeting and we'll encourage him to talk. And then they spoke with Ali. And the next day when I came back, they're like, yeah, he just doesn't want the story done at all. He's moved past this. He doesn't want his name brought up. He's just started a new job, a trial period for a month, and he just doesn't want this story done. And I said, you know, that's okay. I understand that, but I'm still going to do the story. So it would really help if I had more information. But he at the time didn't want anything to do with it. What made him finally call me at the end was I went from Africa to Paris and I interviewed his son, Simon. He had a son with his French wife, and he plays football. And I asked the son to please call his dad and speak on our behalf and say, listen, just consider it again. Just consider, you know, even if it's you just setting the record straight, even if it's just one statement. And evidently it worked, because then he called me.
And so you finally tracked him down. You travelled from all the way to Dakar, to Senegal, and then you went to France, and then ultimately, where did you finally meet him after travelling all that way?
Well, I was meet him, kind of like you and I are meeting right now. I was sitting right here on my couch in London, and the phone rang, and I didn't recognize the number, but I answered it anyways. It was a different phone number than the number. His parents gave me two numbers. It was different than those two numbers. And I answered the phone, and he said, Kelly? And I said, yes. And he said, this is the man who you've been searching for. And I just started laughing, and I said, oh, hello, Ali. And then we chatted for 20 minutes. So, and then he had, at the time he had said, listen, let me get through. I'm on my way to Asia. I'm on my way to Qatar, and then Asia. I get back in mid-December. Let me think about sitting down with you then and do a more in-depth thing, because I said, listen, he was on his way to the airport when he called me. And I said, listen, this isn't enough. I need more. I need more time. And so he said he'd consider it. The day that this story ran, he sent me an email saying he's just not up for doing anything, but to thank me for my time and interest. And he enjoyed the phone call, but he really wants this to be in the past. So it will be up to me to try to convince him in mid-December. I'm going to keep trying to do a full sit down and talk more about things, because listen, what he said, what's interesting is we're still fact checking with Paris Saint-Germain to see if he played for the second tier team, to see if he actually played in the Paris Cup in either 1986 or 87, which he claims he did. I mean, it's great to get his side, but as journalists, you've got to be a slave to proof and documents and corroboration, and not to what you want to believe. I do think that there are some elements of his story that are definitely true, and the rest, we're going to have to fact check it like we would any other story.
What do you think is true then?
So he says that he played, it wasn't just a five-a-side the day before the Leeds United game. It wasn't that. He said he trained with them for a while. And I do believe that maybe Souness, evidently there were a lot of injuries at the time. They were really short of bodies. I don't think that Souness just saw him in a five-side and decided to put it in the game and was completely shocked. I think he was more aware of his football abilities and was probably exceedingly embarrassed when he was out on the field. I haven't seen any of the clips of that time that Ali was on the field. Evidently, he didn't do well. That's what some of his teammates were saying. That's what Souness said. So, I've got to believe their assessments. But I think Souness knew a little bit more about his football abilities than he was completely duped. I don't believe that Souness fell for a voice on the phone saying it was George Weah and take a look at my cousin. He's too smart for that. There's something more there. There's something more there. And that would tend to make sense if, when I say there being something more there, it would make sense that there would be something more there if he did see Ali train more and still signed him. So that would make sense to me. So, but again, these are just, I'd love to talk to Souness. I have every intention of trying again. He did not want to participate in our story.
Well, it's a fascinating story. I remember one of your quotes in there, Matt Letizia said he was like Bambi on ice playing. A little bit of a harsh description, but this is a fascinating story. I hope that Ali does get back to you and you do speak to him in December, and hopefully you can finally get to Graham as well. Regardless, it's a great read. It's on Bleacher Report. Kelly, just before you go, how can we continue to follow your journey on any future articles you've got coming up, or on social media or anything like that, please?
I just started, now that I'm here in the UK, I've lived here for 6 months, I just started a UK Twitter account. It's Kelly Naqi UK, and the spelling on the last name is Naqi. But I'm not you're a big social media guy. I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm in my 50s. I just sort of don't get it. I'm being forced to do it.
Well, No, I'm having to learn about all these other ones I don't know too much about. You'll notice my Snapchat is very poor. And yesterday, working with James Sawyer, who's about 10 years younger than me, he's like, Richard, you got to get on the Snapchat. You got to work it. So I'll be working a little bit harder on that as well.
I can't. No, I can't do Snapchat. I can't.
Yeah, because by the time you get on to Snapchat, there'll be a new thing which you've got to get used to. Well, Kelly, it's been great to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time and a really great story. And we've got links to the story below in our description pages on Facebook, YouTube, and on the website as well. Brilliant. Kelly Naqi, thank you so much for being on Sportuccino.
You're welcome.
Great to hear from Kelly there. All right, it's that time of the day. It's time for our sports health and fitness product review. Quick one today, Whitworth's full of super cacao raw bars crammed with almonds, seeds. I can't ever say this, kia or chia. I'm going to have to search how to say it properly. Quinoa, I know how to say that. No, I don't. It's quinoa. Tricking you there, people. And acai. Let's see on the back some nutritional information. Coconut seed and nut bar with cacao. Coconut flakes is in the ingredients. So are sunflower seeds, agave nectar, almonds, cashew nuts, buckwheat, cacao powder, golden flax seeds, chia or chia seeds, vanilla extract, quinoa and acai, and gluten-free, no soy, suitable for vegetarians if you're a vegetarian. Small children may choke on nuts and seeds. A little bit of information about each bar's 50 grams. So in that you have got 5.3 grams of protein, not bad there. Carbohydrates 15 grams, fiber 5.7 grams, 187 calories. Okay, question is, does it taste any good? Let's crack it open. Oh, it looks a bit more chocolatey looking. It's not just like your standard nut bar. It looks a little bit different today. Let's just break a little bit. That's how it looks inside, people. It's got kind of a weird smell. I'm not sure what I make of it. It kind of is a bit blackcurranty. There's almost some kind of blackcurranty type flavours. I don't know if that's the cacao. I don't know if that's related to blackcurrants. It's very soft. It's very smooth. That almost blackcurranty. I'm guessing the cacao flavours is a bit too pungent for my liking. I reckon I could probably eat half a bar, but more than half a bar, and I'd start to. Yeah, I don't think I'd enjoy it. The nuts are soft nuts. You know, before we've had these hard nut bars where I'm chewing and chewing and chewing and then end up choking at the end of the show. Yeah, it's okay. So the Whitworth's full of super cacao raw bars. They're not bad. They're not amazing. They're not bad. Click through the link. Try them out. Tell me what you think. Whitworth's full of super cacao raw bars. Great to feature that on the show. All right, we are running over time, but I want to quickly run a little bit of our interview with David James. It was live on Periscope yesterday. Follow us on Periscope. We're trying to be live on Periscope every morning. We aren't this morning, but we will be in the future. And our reporter James Sawyer spoke to the England goalkeeper David James before Liverpool beat Leeds United 2-0 yesterday. And he wanted to get the thoughts of David James on Liverpool's Premier League title ambitions. Have a look at this.
It's early stages, of course. I'm not surprised, though. I looked at him last season. What Jurgen Klopp did, I go back to one point, and that was a January transfer window. The fact they didn't bring anyone in or sign anyone permanently to join the club. Corker obviously joined in on a loan. But yeah, didn't bring anyone in. So he gave the confidence to the whole squad that they were going to get an opportunity to please him. They did that. They improved. Granted, they didn't win anything, but there was a massive improvement on players who a lot of pundits and I think a lot of the public had sort of written off, who came to the fore, the likes of Origi, who were sensational up until the injury at least. This season is a continuation of that. And we are seeing some performances from Liverpool which remind you of the side that nearly got the title a few years ago. And for Jurgen Klopp to do that, for such a belief to be at the club, I'm not, as I say, not totally surprised, although it is still early. The injury to Coutinho obviously will have an impact, but I don't think Liverpool is just about Coutinho now. I think 2 years ago it was pretty much him and a load of sidecars. But I like what's going on there.
Yeah, I agree. I massively like what's going on there. Like you said, it is a massive, massive blow. I'm a Liverpool fan myself, and it's a huge blow that Coutinho's in. I think it's 5 to 6 weeks, so hopefully not too long. And with the addition,
back in time for Manchester United.
Well, hopefully, yeah. And the addition of Sadio Mane this year in the summer has been a fantastic one.
And this is the other thing. I mean, I say the January window was the important one because he didn't bring anyone in. And again, that gave the confidence to a squad. Whoever didn't make it was because they had the opportunities and didn't take them. With the signings in the summer, the likes of Mane, the likes of Matip, I mean, these brought some quality in. And this is, again, enhanced. Karius, another one. You can see there's still room for improvement, but they're already good players who could become super players, which, as much as I'm friends with a lot of the scouting guys at Liverpool, I just genuinely think they've bought well, and now they've got the coach or a manager and the coaching staff around them to make the most improvements out of them, and this could be their season.
So that is the end of today's show. Great to hear from David, James. Let's have a look at our headlines. Top clubs in Brazil have offered to loan players to Chapecoense for free after their team, officials and journalists died in a plane crash in Colombia on Monday. Ben Woodburn replaced Michael Owen as Liverpool's youngest ever goalscorer at 17 years and 45 days old by scoring in their 2-0 win over Leeds in the EFL Cup. In Tuesday's other quarter-final, Hull beat Newcastle on penalties after it finished 1-1 after extra time. Jessica ENNIS-HILL says she is so happy after she's awarded a gold medal from the 2011 World Championships after Russian Tatiana Chernova was stripped of the title for doping. That's it for today's Sportuccino. Thanks to Kelly Naqi for talking about the Ali Dia or Ali Jah story. Really interesting stuff there. Tomorrow we're talking about wrestling, WWE TLC. We've got Gareth Messenger on the show going through the card, giving his predictions. Check that out tomorrow morning from 8 a.m. We'll be on Facebook, we'll be on YouTube. Hopefully we'll be back on Periscope as well. You can also listen back to this show on iTunes. Thanks for joining us today. I'm back tomorrow morning from 8 GMT. Take care.